Hi guys, welcome to another session. So here in this video, I'm going to discuss one of the most important articles in Indian polity. And in fact, this is an article that shapes judicial uniformity and the constitutional interpretation and the power structure within our judiciary. So the article that I'm talking about is Article 141. So here what it says is the law declared by Supreme Court shall be binding on all courts within the territory of India. Right? So whatever is the interpretation or the law which is declared by Supreme Court, the same has to be followed by the high courts or the lower courts. So that's binding. That's binding on all courts within the territory of India. So recently, we have seen in news that, in fact, because of the Supreme Court itself have expressed deep concern that different benches are repeatedly overturning earlier Supreme Court judgments. And this trend, if it goes unchecked, it can seriously damage the authority, the finality, and the stability of laws in India. So we have the landmark judgments. It could be delivered by 7 judge, 5 judge panel, the bench. But now even a single judge or a division bench, which is comprising of 2 judge itself is overturning that judgment, which has been delivered by, larger bench like 5 or 7, even the constitutional bench also, right? So today let's try to understand what article this 141 actually means, and then why is it fundamental to the rule of law, and then what doctrines flow from it, and the Latin concept that every UPSC aspirant must know and must have to understand, and why the Supreme Court is worried about it now, and how Parliament can override a judgment. Guys, again, this is extremely important for your GS2 because polity governance, it's directly connected. And you may get a direct prelims question or direct mains question also from, it could be judicial consistency, or it could be related to judicial precedent, or it can be a straightforward question like Supreme Court's role in the Constitution, right? So let's begin. Let's try to understand what is Article 141 says. It's very straightforward. Whatever law the Supreme Court declares is binding on all courts of India. So what are the key points here? See, it's not just guidance, it's binding. It's not that, it's a guiding principle, but the lower court can take decision, but you need to follow the guidance. No, it's binding, right? Now, what is the advantage of it? That basically ensures uniformity of legal interpretations across the country. So if Supreme Court have passed a judgment on something and that is applicable across the lower courts, so that will ensure that uniformity. So it will reinforce the Supreme Court's position as a final interpreter of the Constitution, and it stabilizes the legal system, right? Because courts do not reinvent the wheels in every case. So just they follow the Supreme Court guideline. What is the guideline? Not the guideline, previous judgments. Based on that, you'll pass the order, right? And this basically flows from the idea of judicial review, or in fact, it's a part of basic structure of Constitution. So whenever you hear this term basic structure, automatically you need to connect it with Keshwananda Bharati case, 1973. And, in that Supreme Court as the guardian of the Constitution. So under this principle, Article 141 ensures what? Consistency, predictability, and respect for judicial hierarchy. So that judicial hierarchy respect is there. So Supreme Court is the main one. That has been clear now, right? Now, why recently this is in news and why you can expect a question from this. You remember in UPSC question come from important theme. So Supreme Court and lower courts, judiciary is an important theme. But at the same time, the context need to be there. So it is recently in news, so the context is also set. So you have a possibility or potential that this question can be asked in prelims as well as in mains especially, right? I've given you examples also. So Supreme Court, in fact, have observed a disturbing trend that smaller benches overturning decisions of coordinate benches or the larger bench or even the constitutional bench, and frequent reinterpretations of the past judgments is happening, and lack of discipline in precedent following, right? You're not following the precedent. And the court gave a lot of recent examples. The stray dog relocation case, the older judgment was relocate stray dogs outside cities, but the later reconsideration, in fact, it's called inhuman and moved like in situ sterilization, vaccination model like that. So there is a change, right? And then Diwali firecracker case. What is the old ruling? It was the blanket ban, but it was modified. The later, understanding of the judgments allowed those green crackers, right? So earlier it was blanket ban, complete ban. Now, again, if you look at the post facto environmental clearances, on that, older ruling is it's absolute no. But later ruling, it is allowed in rare and exceptional cases. So these examples, if you look at it, that shows that the reinterpretation is very much getting normal. But of course, this frequent overturning by smaller benches, that what happens, then it destabilizes the judicial authority, right? You have a precedent, you're not following that. And then that will affect the uniformity of, judiciary also. Right. So the Supreme Court concern is not re-evaluation. It is the problem with indiscipline. You have to follow the precedent with discipline, but you're not following that. That's the problem. Now let's also understand the doctrines under Article 141. It's very important again for your prelims and mains. Article 141 is built on 5 major principles, and all of which are commonly, in fact, asked in UPSC. They'll ask you in which among the following, right, that way, or directly in mains also. Doctrine of stare decisis. See, what is that meaning? To stand by what is already decided. Doctrine of stare decisis. So this is the backbone of judicial discipline. Now, why it is important? Because see, we are in a country where diversity is there, right? So this will ensure stability in law. Multiple religion, multiple caste, and that the kind of diversity we have, region, So this will ensure stability, and there will be a kind of predictability. What the lower court will do in this case. So the lower court have to follow the precedent, means different lower courts in different region, and if the judges are from different religion, they will give the same kind of judgment. So there is a predictability, and that will reduce the chaos and the contradictory rulings. That will ensure uniformity also, right? Stability, predictability, uniformity, and that will eventually strengthen the public trust in judiciary. Imagine for the similar cases, different judges giving different judgments based on the subjective interpretation of the judges. That's not, that will derail the public trust in judiciary. So you need uniformity, and definitely will avoid wasting judicial time, because if this is a precedent, this is the outcome, this is the judgment. So if the Supreme Court has laid down principles earlier based on that judgments, based on that precedent, future benches have to follow the same, unless a larger bench revisit the same question, or a constitutional bench overrule it. So in fact, this system will definitely ensure that law does not change unpredictably, right? Now, one more, ratio decidendi. See, again, this is the heart of the judgment, which means the legal principle or reasoning what was essential to decide the case. I repeat, ratio decidendi, right? You may read it as decidendi or whatever, decidendi or whatever. So that's, the legal principle I'm talking about, or the reasoning behind the essence of judging or deciding a case. So there will be some legal principles behind this. You should be talking about, it could be right to life, or it could be anything, right? Or the reasoning which has been given. So only ratio, when we talk about this one, this ratio decidendi is binding under Article 141. So everything else is optional. So only ratio decidendi is binding under Article 141. For example, this case, Shabarimala case, right? The ratio was about essential religious practices, gender equality, and constitutional morality. So here ratio is equal to binding. Opinion is not binding, right? Here ratio is what binding. I hope you got the point. Then the next principle that I need to discuss is obiter dicta. In Latin, it's like things said in passing, right? So what does that mean? These are the observations, these are the remarks, these are the opinions, these are moral commentary, and discussions which are not essential to the final judgment. They are not binding, but they can be persuasive. It can be valuable references, and it can be helpful in future interpretation also. And there can be many UPSC, in fact previously many questions have been based on the difference between ratio and obiter also. There was a question before. So I hope you got this point, obiter dicta and ratio decidendi. Cool. Now the next one, per incuriam, right? The Latin term is, it's a Latin term, so it's actually through lack of care. So a judgment is per incuriam when, in which scenario? If it ignore the binding law, right? If it overlook a relevant precedent, or if it skips the constitutional or a statutory provision. In that case, you will say the judgment is per incuriam. And such kind of judgments do not have binding force. And these are considered technically flawed and can be, ignored by courts in future also. For example, if a judgment ignores an earlier constitution bench judgment, it's a per incuriam. I hope this is very clear. And the next one is sub-silentio, right? So which means under silence. See, a judgment is sub-silentio, in which scenario a legal point exists, right? Or, legal point exists, but the court decides the case without, consciously considering that point. Then in that case, it's sub-silentio. So such finding is not binding because the issue was not fully examined here, and the court did not intend to set a precedent, and it was resolved silently. So, this is again very important in constitutional interpretations. So I hope you got this. Sub-silentio means under silence. So a judgment is sub-silentio when there is a legal point exists, but the court decide the case without consciously considering that point, ignoring, because what does that mean? The issue is not fully examined. Right. Now, let's also look at legislative override. See, even though Supreme Court judgments are binding, but still, who can override? Parliament can override the Supreme Court judgment by passing a new law or amending the existing law, or by passing a constitutional amendment without violating the basic structure. Only thing is that you cannot violate the basic structure of the Constitution. You can have the amendment, right? For example, this NJAC Act, in fact, was struck down, but Parliament still attempted reforms in that. SC/ST Act amendments after the 2018 dilution judgment, right? And then land acquisition law, in fact, changes after the compensation judgments, and tax amendments after the Vodafone case. So all these are examples. But again, Parliament cannot overturn the interpretation of the Constitution's basic structure. That's very important. And Parliament cannot directly reverse a judgment. That's not possible. And, it can only change the law. It can amend the law, not the judicial decision itself. You can't do anything on that. Again, very important, guys, under separation of power topic. Okay, GS2 concept, separation of power. Now, why the Supreme Court is worried today? See, the Supreme Court observed many things. The frequent overrulings, right? Overturnings, and bench-to-bench contradictions, and indiscipline in following precedent. And the smaller benches, in fact, overruling larger ones, and lack of judicial coherence. In fact, these are damaging the finality of the apex court. And if Supreme Court judgments are not stable and consistent, then what will happen? The lower court will get confused. They don't have any precedent, right? And different judgments will come from different judges, because if you leave everything for subjective interpretation without any precedent, then you can imagine what is going to happen when we are in a country where different religion, different language, different kinds of people are there, right? And the government agencies will get contradictory guidance. Citizens definitely will lose the faith. Public trust will be gone, and the litigations will increase from all the sides, right? And constitutional governance, that will become so weak. So this article is very crucial. Why? Because this is ensuring uniformity, this is ensuring that stability, transparency, and predictability, and the judicial hierarchy, giving Supreme Court at its importance which is required. And this is very much essential for rule of law. So what UPSC want from you in this? Now we understood the context, we understood the theme. Now we need to connect, right? So what UPSC want you to understand from here, or what UPSC want from you? Article 141, you need to know its binding nature of Supreme Court judgments, right? And only ratio decidendi is binding. Stare decisis, in fact, ensuring judicial stability. Parliament can override what? Only through legislation, constitutional amendment, or passing new law. It cannot reverse the judgments, right? And judgments are, obiter, per incuriam, or sub-silentio. These judgments are not binding. And, these are continuously in use. Because of that itself, the context is set, high probability question. Now you can, have MCQs like with reference to Article 141, consider the following statement. That way they'll ask you questions. Or in mains also, they will ask you, role of Supreme Court, like that, whatever I have mentioned in the beginning, right? So any type of question. So get prepared with this, very important, Article 141. And see, Article 141, again, it's not just a technical clause. It's the foundation of judicial discipline in India. So that's why you'll be getting, the main question. So this will ensure whatever I have discussed, the Supreme Court speaks with authority, right? The precedent is there. You have to follow it. It ensures Supreme Court's authority, and the law is getting very much predictable. The citizens will be treated equally. The public trust will increase, and the lower court do not contradict each other. And the constitutional interpretation remain uniform across India. And most importantly, it protects the stability of our legal system. So when the Supreme Court itself wants that its judgments are being undermined, it's not just a judicial issue. It becomes a constitutional concern for the entire nation. And that's exactly what I wanted to discuss in this session. I hope you got the point. And in case if you're looking for any mentorship or classes or test series, get in touch with us. We'll help you there. See you guys.